Okay. Enter Blackwell Ninjas. As I stealthily made my way out of the hall, I passed by Kate's door and saw all the nice messages from other students. Too bad most of Blackwell didn't care when they passed around the video and bullied her to that roof. Everybody always cares when it's too late. At least Kate will see on our people that people are on her side finally. I hope I can visit her when this all blows over. Maybe that's not a good choice of words. Alright, so here we are. This is a completely separate section. Time for some diary reading in the best voice acting possible. Not really. Damn, that was too close. I was doing so well until I got outside, and of course it was Principal Wells of all people blocking the way. The one person I least wanted to see. I wasn't ninja enough for him, so yeah, he busted me. But I finally got to see that the gossip was true for a change. Principal Wells was shit-faced. He didn't even try to hide it. In fact, he was a lot cooler drunk than sober. I can see why he's so confused dealing with Kate's family and the Prescotts and David Madsen. He still acts suspicious and gives me way too much toot, as he would say. Nobody says that seriously. But I can see that he's under a lot of pressure. So much that he's so wasted he can't even use his keys at midnight. Sure, he was in my way, but he was no match for my rewind power. After all, I had to go and meet Chloe. Bad Max. Even though I thought I was in full ninja mode, Chloe still scared the shit out of me. Which pissed me off considering what I've been going through. Sometimes she's so damn insensitive to other people's feelings. Don't worry about that, Max. Don't worry about that. She's had to deal with a lot. She's had to be emotionally shut down. She wants all my attention for her and finding Rachel, and she gets all butthurt if I don't have time for her. Obviously I have time in hand, but I can't stay mad at her for long, and she was so damn excited about having the keys to the main building. And honestly, I was pretty amped up too. Even more so when we went to the front of the building and spied on Victoria talking smack about me, shocked. And worse, actually trying to blackmail Mr. Jefferson to pick her photo for the Everyday Heroes contest. She is freaking unreal. I give Mr. Jefferson major respect for telling her to get lost, even though she deserved to be expelled for pulling that crap. This is her priority after what happened with Kate? I just don't understand Victoria, no matter how hard I try. She's already rich, pretty, and a good photographer. Why try so hard and hurt so many to manipulate everything already in your favor? I just hope that's not what I'm doing with my rewind power. Yes, there's something incredibly awesome about breaking into your own school at the witching hour. Although Chloe was technically right, how can we break in with a key? Never mind that it was a stolen key from a school's head of security. Anyway, the Blackwell Ninjas strike again! It's so cool to stalk the halls when it's dark and quiet. Even with so many terrible things happening all around us, it felt like Chloe and I were walking towards the center of a great cosmic mystery. Something bigger than any of us. But we kinda suck as master spies since we didn't have a key for the principal's office. No worries though with my rewind power at hand. And of course Dr. Warren Graham. He came through with a bitchin' mini bomb made of sodium what the fuck ever. Oh, that's great. Sodium what the fuck ever. I have an old chemistry teacher? I have an old chemistry teacher who would get a kick out of that. I probably learned more putting those ingredients together than the entire semester so far. Sorry, Miss Grant, Warren is the star student here. He tries so hard to help. Maybe too much, but what's wrong with that these days? I am so grateful he's on my team. Talk about being in the Sancto Sanctorum. Thanks, Latin class I barely passed, of Blackwell. I did feel freaking weird about being in the principal's office after midnight, going through his files and laptop with Chloe. She was way too into it. Technically, we could be arrested and thrown in jail. Yikes. I just pretended that we were on a very special episode of The Wizards of Waverly Place. You know, just a couple of wacky Sherlocks investigating the school for a good cause. Yeah, that helped. That did help. While we didn't find the proof, we found Nathan's file had a weird drawing in it. It just said Rachel in the dark room over and over. So that's a major clue that Nathan is involved in this somehow. Or he's just insane. But his note also referenced David M., which means that we absolutely have to find a way into David's secret bunker files. For a good cause. But Chloe just can't help herself, and she actually took $5 grand in cash marked handicap fund. Because that's gotta be legit, am I right? I can't think of a faster route to Karma Hell, but it would clear Chloe's debt to Frank. I'll find a way to make it up to the fund. After all, saving a life is priority. As is my habit with Chloe. No matter what, our fates seem bound together, for better or for worse. Although, usually worse. That just struck me. That scene prior in this episode, I think it was either a part or a couple parts ago, depending on how I splice this up. But I saved Chloe's life again. Totally against her will this time, but I saved her again. Okay, back on track. That was a weird epiphany I just had. Okay, anyway. Despite all the usual breaking in and blowing up office hijinks, Chloe decided what we needed more than anything was to take a night swim in the Otter's lair. I was so giddy and rebellious that I was like, oh yes, we shall swim. We didn't completely skinny dip, but close enough to get in big trouble no matter what. I don't know why we were so careless after being so careful. But I do love that Chloe brings out the just don't give a fuck side of me. Even if that hasn't always served her well. She deserved a moment of not giving a shit. And me too. Just two friends goofing around in the pool. I fear those youthful shenanigans might soon be a thing of our past. God, I'm starting to sound like one of the teachers at Blackwell. Chloe and I had a nice chat about our lives since I left. We talked about dumb boys and girls and why they're trouble. Especially for me. I feel like a groupie when I talk to Chloe about our life experience. She has me so beat. I take pictures, she takes action. Speaking of action though, we had to seriously bounce when security showed up. Duh. How quiet could we be in the swimming pool? Plus after leaving a trail of our Blackwell handiwork. It was so intense and exciting to get past the security guards. They had serious spotlight power, so it wasn't exactly easy to stealth our way past. Especially as we had to bail in Chloe's junker. But like I said, intense and exciting. Hella like Chloe Price. Oh my gosh, does that actually mean that you can get caught? Like, I know you can get caught in that part. But can you actually continue with that and not rewind and end up in trouble? Is there an entire part where you can actually be in trouble in school and be arrested? Is that actually a thing? Don't know. Be kind of interesting to find out. Even though my body smelled like I had been doused in chlorine, it was so nice to crash in Chloe's room for the first time in 5 years, and wake up next to her like our old sleepovers. For some reason it reminded me of the time we were going to TP one of the neighbors' houses, and we even snuck out, but got chicken and ran back home laughing all the way. I remember waking up the next day and Joyce was making one of her delish breakfasts downstairs, and Chloe smiled at me like we were in the most secret club in the world, or at least Arcadia Bay. We were pirates, damn it! After our academic espionage last night, I felt the same way. It's just that now the stakes are much higher and much more dangerous. I even ended up in some of Rachel Amber's clothes since mine were trashed. A band tee and ripped jeans. So not me. But I haven't found my style yet, so why not have some fun experimenting with a new outfit? Speaking of experiments, Chloe dared me to kiss her. So I did. She'd probably thought I'd wuss out. Why, it wasn't that big a deal. Though it was cute the way she was kind of embarrassed after and said she would tell Warren. Besides, I think Chloe sees Rachel Amber in her future. Another thing I just thought about, but I may expound on that later. Expand, same thing. When I went down to breakfast, Joyce actually called me Rachel. Which just seems so wrong, considering how beautiful she is and how boring I am. I guess my new outfit really is working its magic. I ended up helping Joyce make breakfast, just like when I was a kid on a sleepover. It's odd how quickly you can fall back into an old routine. And I just had another really, really strange, weird thought that I am actually going to write down and talk about as soon as I am done reading these journal entries. Who's the main character again? Max. Okay. That's done. So I must have set off Joyce's nostalgia mode since she busted out Ye Old Photo Album. I'm one of the few people who loves checking out old pictures. What was that Alfred Hitchcock line about film being pieces of time? Like Mr. Jefferson said, so are photographs. I do think she wanted me to see her new husband in a better light. When David was happy or laughing with Joyce in a picture, I wanted to say, and who is that? Plus, I'm sure it's no accident there was a photo of Rachel wearing the exact same clothes I had on. She truly is stunning. And somehow looked more punk rock than Chloe. The truly heartbreaking image was the last photo William Price ever took. Chloe and I making pancakes in the kitchen. Joyce really misses that joyful, optimistic girl. I know she's still there. When Chloe smiled at me this morning, I saw her. The picture seemed to sum up everything we had as children and lost as adults. Whatever being an adult means. Which was a perfect cue for Chloe to bounce into the room and start shit with Joyce. This gave me cruel cover so I could sneak into the garage and finally unlock David Madsen's extreme files. I see what you did there. So today, I finally found out what was in David's secret files. And I admit, I expected it to be worse. I'm relieved that it wasn't, so maybe I'm going easier on him than I should. No surprise they had detailed files on Kate and Rachel listing their whereabouts along with surveillance pics. David isn't off my shit list yet, but he's a damn good investigator, I'll give him that. It's clear that Frank and Rachel had some kind of relationship. And I don't think Chloe is going to be very happy to hear that. She needs to start waking up, though. We all do. When David came home, things escalated really quickly. He looked more upset than usual, but shrugged when he saw me wearing Rachel's clothes. He was so on edge. Maybe I'll never get to see the David that Joyce loves so much. She and Chloe really let him have it, though. This was the first time I saw them bond since we were kids. Suddenly, I couldn't take it anymore either, and I kind of blew up. It was like a torrent that felt awesome. I've been wanting to rip into David like that myself for a long time. I'd figure worst case scenario, hello rewind power. But I wanted Joyce to know the depth of his weird paranoia. She looked so sad and angry when I told her about the photos of Rachel and Kate. Not to mention the home surveillance. Joyce kicked his ass out of the house, to Chloe's glee. But despite David's evidence in the bracelet, Chloe refused to believe Rachel was involved with Frank. This is the part of Chloe I don't much like. She gets so damn petulant if she doesn't get her way, or if she hears something she doesn't like. Serious denial. I mean, I get why, but that doesn't make dealing with it any easier. So I threw my hands up and suggested we check out Frank's RV. I knew that would piss Chloe off, and she would do anything to find out what kind of relationship he had with Rachel. But first we had to get the damn keys to the RV. Which meant going into the Two Wheels diner and bouncing like a rewind pinball between Frank, Nathan Prescott, and Officer Barry, and fucking with all of them. I'm still dizzy thinking about how I pulled it off. Yay for Max! Sometimes I feel like I'm just cheating at life. Officer Barry is the guy! Yes! Yes! Yes, 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 yes! 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 Okay, Chloe's got a chance. We're good. Because Dave Barry, oh my god, did I really just say that? Dave Barry was the one who sent Chloe the email. Yes, the comedian from Florida. No, Officer Barry, wouldn't that be funny if his first name was David, though? That's weird. But Officer Barry is the guy in the Two Wheels diner, and he's the guy who sent the email to Chloe about questioning her. So we're good. As long as David isn't there, we're good. Yes. The first thing we had to do was get Frank's scary dog out of the RV. So we did the classic cartoon give a dog a bone routine, and Cujo became Scooby-Doo just like that. Frank's RV was pretty much what I expected. Drug dealer trash chick. But it wasn't as serial killer as I feared. We ransacked the place and found what Chloe didn't want us to find. I'm sorry Chloe had to see the pictures of Rachel posing for Frank, even if she did care about him. To her, it's just another betrayal, just another loved one dumping on her. Everybody she ever loved, she lost one way or another. Only I came back from the past. But for what? To make Chloe's life more painful? I just wish I could use my rewind power to go all the way back to the days when we were covered in pancake flour. Life was simple. Cue photo op. October 10th. Dear Diary, let's never do the time warp again. I can't even begin to explain what happened. If I think too hard about the ramifications, my brain might melt. When I try to describe it, it's as if I'm describing something that happened to someone else. Chloe was so upset when we discovered that Rachel had actually been involved with Frank Bowers. And she just blew up. I can never talk to her when she's like this, and I just get so tired of having to walk on eggshells around her emotions. She still blames William for her messed up life, no matter how much she knows she's being unfair. I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't be just as messed up. Not that I'm not in my own way. In my room, all I could think was I wish I could go back in time and help Chloe. And suddenly I was looking at the photograph William had taken of us on the day he died. And it started pulsing like it was 3D, like I could see inside the photograph. Then I found myself actually back in the photo, to when I was 13 years old. I was back in Chloe's kitchen in the year 2008. With Chloe and William. Right before he left to pick up Joyce for the last time. Since my powers somehow morphed to this new level of rewind, I decided that there was no way I was going to let William die again. So I played hide the keys until he had no other option but to take the bus. I was so happy I actually saved William. I never thought about what could go wrong. I knew I was screwed when I came out of my epic rewind and saw Victoria Chase. But now she was my friend. And I was a member of the Vortex Club. Enough said. I knew I had screwed up. And then I felt sick thinking about what might have changed with Chloe. I had a clue when I saw David Madsen driving the school bus. He sure didn't look so threatening anymore. I didn't want to know how he ended up as a bus driver instead of with Joyce. I felt my heart drop when I rushed to Chloe's house. So when William opened the door, I prepared myself for the worst. That's when Chloe rolled forward in her wheelchair, paralyzed from the neck down. I didn't even know what to say, so I covered my mouth in my typical gesture of shock and stupid. But Chloe's smile was so genuine and beautiful, I almost cried. I had to adjust to everything without freaking out or telling Chloe that I actually altered time and space to save her father, but get her in a car accident so she could never walk again. The thing is, she was still Chloe, just minus all the rage. This Chloe was just grateful to be alive and have her family watching over her. Chloe begged me to spend the night, and of course I did. I noticed how run down parts of their home were compared to before. I saw the incredible expensive equipment that Chloe now requires, including her new garage room. Sorry, David. Even though I felt awful and disconnected, Chloe was just so bubbly and excited to hang out with me again. Especially since I flaked on her pretty hardcore after her accident. Even in an alternate universe, I'm a shitty friend. Chloe's world was so new and unique to me, especially her strength and kindness, and pain. She needed a whole pharmacy to get through the day. I didn't feel sorry for her, though. I felt in awe with her attitude. This Chloe didn't blame anybody for her condition, even though she had the right. We strolled down the beach and saw the beached whales that proved something bad was happening in both realities. And then Chloe asked me to put her to sleep. The accident left her body pretty much broken. Her lungs stopped working properly and she was basically dying a slow, painful death. She also felt so guilty about her parents' sacrifice and dwindling income. She wasn't erratic or tortured about this request, just practical. Which made me feel even more terrible for putting her in this situation. But there was no way I was going to help my best friend take her own life. I couldn't do it, especially after what happened with Kate. I know I should have done whatever Chloe asked of me considering I was responsible for her situation. But how could I inject her full of morphine and just watch her fade away? I know she was upset, but I just had to tell myself that this reality wasn't real. After my visit to Chloe's new world, I knew it was time to go max to the future. Ugh! God, the puns. You so punny, Max. I had seen the result of my temporal tampering. Really? And I got scared thinking my new power wouldn't even work anymore. That would have been cruel karma. Fortunately, I was able to project myself into the photograph once again, and I undid everything I had done. Goodbye, William. Again. Hello, David. Again. And that's page 1. Once again, I just have to comment about the little side pictures and stuff. They're really freaking awesome. My hair is getting pulled by the stars again. I like that one. Alright, so page 55 is where we left off. And now back to our regular program.